Typically when you play Mario Kart, you want to avoid falling to your death and getting out of bounds, aka off the track. But today, I'm doing the opposite. I'm going to play every track in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, including DLC, and see just how fast I can get out of bounds. Some ground rules. I'll be doing this experiment/challenge, whatever you want to call it, using time trials. Time trials will automatically be timing things for me, and it's more consistent compared to the hectic nature of racing with 11 other CPUs. This means I'll also always have 3 mushrooms I can use to help achieve the quickest time. Now, since the timer and time trials will continue to run until you complete 3 laps, I will record the time to get out of bounds the moment Lakitu appears to lift me from out of bounds. With that, let's start with Mario Kart Stadium and Mushroom Cup. Pretty straightforward course that has an area here with no ledge around the 15-second mark. But it later dawned on me, what if I tried going backwards as well? And lo and behold, you're able to get out of bounds quicker at the 11-second mark if you turn around and go backwards, despite adding about 2 seconds just turning around. Water Park took a lot longer. I tried a couple of times to boost my way out of bounds going off these ramps, and even tried getting into here. But I wasn't able to get out of bounds until about 35 seconds into the track when you can use your air glider. In Sweet Sweet Canyon, without being hit by an item to cause you to fall out of bounds in this big jump, then it takes about 28 seconds to get out of bounds here. Thwomp Ruins only takes 3 seconds. Mario Circuit also 3 seconds. Toad Harbor, you can fall into water here around 6 seconds. Twisted Mansion took a long ass time. The quickest I could get out of bounds was around 30 seconds when you glide off this ramp. Shy Guy Falls, you can get out of bounds immediately, which makes making this video easier for me. Sunshine Airport, I found you can get out of bounds by going through these cargo gates. There's one forward and backwards, with the one behind slightly faster. Dolphin Shoals, it's fastest to go backwards and off this ledge. Electrodome, there's a drop right away where you can just glide off to the side and get out of bounds in about 3 seconds. Mount Wario, pretty similar. Drop right away where all you need to do is steer off to the side and off the mountain. Cloud Top Cruise, pretty easy, just fall off here. Bone Dry Dunes, even easier. Bowser's Castle, you can get out of bounds going forward in about 9 seconds, but turning around and getting out of bounds here was actually faster by a second for me. And to no surprise, it only takes a second to get out of bounds in Rainbow Road. Yoshi's Circuit, you can get out of bounds in about 4 seconds right here. With the mushroom, it takes about 3 seconds to get out of bounds here in Excite-A-Bike Arena. Dragon Driftway only took me 1 second to get out of bounds right at the start. Mute City also has a drop right at the start, taking me 2 seconds to get out of bounds. So I could not find a way to get out of bounds in Baby Park, even with having 3 mushrooms. I don't think it's possible, but if it is possible, please let me know because I would love to know. Cheeseland is another track where I found it faster to get out of bounds turning around and going backwards. Same thing for Wild Woods, though only slightly faster. It took me about 6 seconds to get out of bounds by turning around, but 7 seconds if I went forward on the track. And also for Animal Crossing. You could go forward and glide into the river, but turning around and falling onto this part of the track is quicker. Moo Moo Meadows took quite a bit for me to get out of bounds, as I could only get out of bounds going off this ramp. Going forward on the track took me about 26 seconds, but turning around and going backwards to get to the ramp took me about 21 seconds. GBA Mario Circuit, all you need to do is steer to the side when going off this ramp. Cheap Cheap Beach, again, all you need to do is steer off to the side when going off of this ramp. Now, Toad's Turnpike was a tricky one. There is nowhere on the track you can fall off of, but what you can do in this track is go off the ramp of this truck and glide back to the start of the track, which is an out of bounds. But the truck with the ramp takes its sweet ass time to get to the bridge, so I have to just chill and wait for the right time to boost up. It took me about 28 seconds before I could get out of bounds on this track. Dry Desert, all you need to do is immediately turn left or right after the temple and drive off the track. Donut Plains 3 is one of those tracks with the blocks all around the track, which makes it tricky to get out of bounds. But with a mushroom, you can boost up this hill from underwater and get out of bounds. Royal Raceway, there's a lake immediately to the left you can just drive off of. DK Jungle, if you turn around and go backwards, there's a ledge you can drive off pretty quickly. Wario Stadium, you have this area of the track with no ledges you can simply fall off of. But with a mushroom, you can boost yourself off this hill and into out of bounds quicker. Sherbet Land is another track I just couldn't find a way to get out of bounds. I thought for sure with a mushroom I could get out of bounds going off this ramp, but the game would always block me from getting over the ice wall. Music Park, pretty simple, just fall off near the keyboard as soon as there's no ledge to keep you on track. Yoshi Valley, there's a lot of different paths you can take, but I found turning left at the first junction and falling off the wooden bridge was the quickest way to out of bounds. Tick-Tock Clock, you can immediately steer off the track. Piranha Plant Slide, I thought I was close to boosting my way out of this first portion of the track, but I wasn't able to. So the quickest way out of bounds for me was falling into this pit after the first Piranha Plant. You could also just turn around and go backwards and drive off this ledge, but it's a large fall, so it takes longer for Lakitu to grab you, which I consider is the moment you're out of bounds. Grumble Volcano, you can just steer off right at the start and into the lava. N64 Rainbow Road I think takes the longest to get out of bounds, but it's still pretty quick. Just drive off as soon as there's no walls. Wario's Gold Mine, just drive off the track as soon as there's no wall. But it might actually be quicker if you just reverse from the start and off this ledge. It's quick either way. SNES Rainbow Road has no walls whatsoever, so you can immediately drive off the track. Ice Ice Outpost, there's a part early on where the green track is higher than the yellow track, where I used a mushroom to boost into the water. Hyrule Circuit, the quickest way out of bounds is steering off to the side when going off this ramp before the castle. Neon Bowser City, you can just drive off at the beginning as soon as there's no wall. Ribbon Road, if you go forward, there's a ramp that you can steer off of, and if you go backwards, there's a ledge you can drive off of. Both took me about 10 seconds to get out of bounds. Super Bell Subway is a track I wasn't sure I'd be able to get out of bounds. There's no ledges or anything like that to fall from, which forced me to get a bit creative. Eventually, I found if you turn around and go towards this gate and wait for the subway to come, the gate will open and you can get in just enough to be considered out of bounds and for Lakitu to carry you away. Big Blue, there's a small section here right at the start with no ledge on the left you can drive off of. With these tour tracks, it's easy to get out of bounds if you just turn around and go backwards, as Lakitu will automatically carry you away. But in Paris Promenade, you can get out of bounds quicker by going forward and drifting into this alley with a small barrier. Toad Circuit takes a while to get out of bounds, because starting only in lap 2 does this ramp raise up, allowing you to glide into out of bounds. And when I say a while, I mean 45 seconds, the longest of any track to get out of bounds.
Ah!
Shoko Mountain, just drive right off the ledge that is right at the start past the arrow sign. The only spot where I could get out of bounds at Coconut Mall was when going off this ramp and gliding into the adjacent parking lot. And because this ramp is closer to the end of the track, it took about 31 seconds to get out of bounds. Tokyo Tour, the quickest way to get out of bounds is to turn around and go backwards. Shroom Ridge, just drive immediately off the ledge to the left. Sky Garden, just drive immediately off the ledge to the right. Ninja Hideaway, just steer off the roof to the left or right. I chose the left towards the water wheel. New York Minute, just drive through the flashing arrows immediately to the left. I could not find a way to get out of bounds in Mario Circuit 3. It's those damn block tracks. If anyone knows a way to get out of bounds here, please let me know. Calamari Desert, all you need to do is steer immediately to the right and drive off into the sunset. Waluigi Pinball, just steer to the left or right when going off this ramp. Sydney Sprint, just go straight forward through the arrows. Snowland, just turn directly to the left or right after the bridge at the beginning of the track. Mushroom Gorge, just immediately drive off the cliff to the right. Sky High Sundae, instead of gliding through the ice cream or onto the platform after it, just steer into the side on the left or right. London Loop, I thought I could get out of bounds in this small little gap here, but no luck, so instead just drive straight through the arrows. Boo Lake, just steer to the far left or right when going off this ramp at the beginning. You could also go backwards, but I found that slightly longer to get out of bounds. Rock Mountain, just drive straight off the cliff on the left at the beginning. Maple Treeway, just drive off the ledge here, past the arrow sign and before the barrel blaster. Berlin Byways, I found it fastest to turn around and drive backwards to get out of bounds. Peach Gardens, there's a little pond right before the gardens that you can drive into. Merry Mountain, you can just steer directly to the left and into these Yoshi's house to get out of bounds. 3DS Rainbow Road, like all Rainbow Roads, just drive immediately off the road. Amsterdam Drift, or as I like to say, Amsterdam, girl. You can go backwards, but make sure you go to the right to get out of bounds. The left will let you keep driving, but I found it faster going forward and through the first set of flashing arrows. Riverside Park, just drive immediately into the water on the left or right. DK Summit is one of the longer tracks to get out of bounds. You can go forwards and get out of bounds going off this first jump, but I found it slightly faster turning around and going backwards and up this hill with the right amount of momentum. Yoshi's Island, just drive immediately to the left or right, avoiding the wooden bridge and off the ledge. Bangkok Rush, you guessed it, go through the first set of arrows on the left or right. DS Mario Circuit, just drive straight past the arrow signs and into this fence. I'm not sure why hitting this fence is considered out of bounds, but it is. Waluigi Stadium, I thought I could get out of bounds going up this hill at the beginning using a mushroom, but it just wouldn't let me. So I turned my ass around and dropped down here to get out of bounds the quickest. Singapore Speedway, just drive to the arrows on the right at the beginning. Athens Dash, just go straight through the first set of arrows to get out of bounds the quickest. Daisy Cruiser is a unique one. There's railings all around the cruise ship, and since you can go into the water, there's not many options to get out of bounds. There are actually no options since I wasn't able to get out of bounds. I thought maybe I could squeeze past this cone, but no luck. I thought maybe being smothered by this clam would take me out of bounds for some desperate reason. The only thing I thought really had potential though was using a mushroom to gain enough speed going out of the horn and off the ship, but the game wouldn't let me. I was able to land on this area to the right though, but for some reason this isn't considered out of bounds, which I found odd since it seems like a space that would be considered out of bounds. Moonview Highway, it's quickest to get out of bounds here where there's no railing. Squeaky Clean Sprint, just drive to the left and off the countertop. Los Angeles Laps, the fastest way out of bounds for me was just off this ramp and into the ocean. Sunset Wilds marks the 5th track I wasn't able to get out of bounds. This track is surrounded by those damn blocks, which makes it hard to get out of bounds. In a desperate attempt, I tried getting into the Shy Guy's tent, but he was not having it. The only real chance I had was using my mushroom and going off the ramps and off to the side, but the game wasn't having it either. Koopa Cape, and potentially my favorite track, just steer to the right when going off the first ramp. You can also turn around and go backwards into the water here, but by the time it takes to turn around, it was faster just going forward. And finally, in Vancouver Velocity, just drive straight through the first set of arrows. Well, there you have it, the fastest ways to get out of bounds in all 88 Mario Kart 8 Deluxe tracks. I had a lot of fun making this video, so I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, feel free to like and subscribe, so I can continue to make more videos like this. And check out the video description for a listing of all tracks from slowest to fastest for getting out of bounds.